Women are made across the dominant hierarchy and up socioeconomically speaking, and on average across cultures, women go for men who are about 4 to 5 years older. You know, it varies. In the Scandinavian countries, that shrunk a little bit, but not that much. And in other cultures, it's bigger. I would say that depends to some degree on the difficulty of establishing economic independence. Because in richer countries it's easier to have enough economic independence if you're a male to be a useful participant in the process of having children. But it doesn't matter cross-culturally. It's still a cross and up where men are made to cross and up where men are made to cross and down. They don't care much about socioeconomic status. Doesn't seem to be part of their selection method. I think that part of that is also that the ability of women to select for male health. It's something like that because it isn't that, only that because if you're healthy and energetic, you're much more likely to be successful because it's very hard to be successful if you're ill, obviously, because the competition's just too high. Both genders, both sexes select each other for attractiveness, both select for intelligence, both select for personality, although there are differences there in terms of what's stressed. Now, one of the things about human beings that are unique is females are picky. They're also sneaky because you can't tell when they're ovulating and without many other female animals. You know, they have hidden ovulation and they're choosy and they tend to choose men who are more successful in the dominant hierarchy. I mean, if you have a choice, why not? If you pick someone who's at the bottom of the competence hierarchy, well, that's probably not going to work out very well for you, and since women bear the burden of reproduction, it's perfectly reasonable for them to search for someone who's going to be helpful. So productive, fair, and generous. And you know, when you think of dominant hierarchy, you might think, well, it's the powerful guy, the aggressive guy that rises to the top of the dominant hierarchy. That's not true. It's not even true among chimps. Like you can get a chimp tyrant, then what happens is other chimps gang up on him and tear him to pieces, and they don't do it nicely. The chimps that tend to maintain their dominance for long periods have a pretty wide network of friends, roughly speaking, with whom they engage in reciprocal interactions like grooming. They pay a lot of positive attention to the female chimps who have their hierarchy, by the way, and to their offspring. So they're like baby kissing politicians, you know, and it's certainly the case. Female humans prefer creative men. So, and no wonder, of course, we wouldn't be creative if that wasn't the case. So then imagine that there are two primary forces of evolutionary selection operating on us, and they're not the natural world, which is what people always think. Like the environment, you know, the animals and the trees and nature. But it isn't nature that selected us. It's two other things. So one is the dominant hierarchy. Male dominance hierarchy is one of the primary mechanisms of selection. So it's like, well, women are faced with a hard choice, which guy to go after, right? That's a hard choice. And so what that means, at least in part, is that we have adapted to be better at attaining status and dominance. You know, it might mean cognitive flexibility because you could imagine dominance hierarchy A, dominance hierarchy B, and dominance hierarchy C. Okay, so if you're successful, you climb up dominance hierarchy A, right? But what about B and C? If you happen to land in those, you'd just be a failure. So then you could say the ideal human being is someone who can climb to the top of the dominant hierarchy. We've evolved such success across the set of possible dominance. Hierarchies are the target, and I think that's why we have general intelligence.